What if I told you that one stop at a red light, just a single pause in traffic, could change the destiny of a nation? Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's exactly what happened on the streets of Burkina Faso. This isn't just another story about politics or leaders riding in motorcades. No. This is about humanity, loyalty, and a reminder that true power isn't found in palaces, but in how you treat the most vulnerable standing right in front of you. And today, on Traore versus America, we bring you a story that should make every American watching stop and think, would our leaders do the same? The president's convoy rolled back from the border. Engines hummed low, sunlight gleamed off the polished windshields, and dust swirled in the hot air before settling again. Inside the lead sedan, Captain Ibrahim Traoré sat heavy with silence. His famous red beret, normally perched high on his head as a symbol of strength, rested quietly in his hands. The morning had been long, chasing smugglers, raiding warehouses, interrogating suspects, and it had ended with more dead ends than answers. The air outside was thick with heat, but the pressure on his chest was heavier. The word he hated most hung over him like a shadow: failure. The convoy slowed at a wide intersection. The traffic light flashed red. Street vendors wove between the vehicles, balancing trays of peanuts, phone cards, bottles of water. A barefoot boy in a torn shirt tapped on windows, clutching a battered box of tissues. A bus sputtered nearby, coughing out clouds of thick black smoke. It was chaos, the kind of everyday chaos of city life that doesn't make headlines, but defines reality. And in that chaos, Ibrahim's eyes caught sight of something that stopped him cold. An old man, frail and leaning on a cane, shuffled slowly across the zebra crossing. In his hands, he clutched a thin brown envelope. Suddenly, a delivery van swerved hard, the driver shouting angrily, "Move, old man! Scratch my paint and you'll pay!" The old man flinched, stumbled, and the envelope slipped from his grip. Papers scattered across the asphalt like frightened birds. One photo slapped against the bumper of Ibrahim's car. He looked down and froze. It was faded, worn, and almost torn in half. But the face smiling back at him was unforgettable. His father, and right beside him, another face. A scarred face burned into his memory. Ibrahim's heart jolted as if struck by lightning. "Stop the car," he said, voice low but sharp. "Sir, we can clear the road in 2 minutes," his driver muttered. "I said stop." The brakes hissed. Ibrahim flung open the door before his guards could react. Horns blared, vendors shouted, and the noise of the city pressed in, but he ignored it all. He bent down, gathering the scattered papers, pharmacy slips, hospital referrals. A note for St. Camille Clinic. The old man's cane trembled as he leaned heavily against it. His breath was ragged, his frame thin. Then their eyes met, and in that moment, time folded in on itself. Memories surged. A night of rain, a collapsing roof, strong arms pulling a frightened boy to safety. "Baba," Ibrahim whispered. The man blinked. Then his clouded eyes widened. The scar on his brow deepened with recognition. "Ibra," he croaked. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A guard stepped forward, but Ibrahim raised a steady hand, keeping them back. He reached for the old man's elbow, steadying him like a son steadying a father. "It's me. I'm here." The van driver stammered, pale with fear. "Excellency, I didn't know it was just he was in the way." Ibrahim's voice cut sharp, yet calm. Is a man blocking your road, or is your impatience blocking your humanity? The whole intersection stilled, even the bus driver. Moments earlier, blasting his horn, lowered it in shame. Ibrahim guided the old man to the shade beside his car. The man's shirt was clean but worn thin, his shoulders sagging under invisible weight. "Why here alone? Why not come to me?" Ibrahim asked softly. The old man tried to smile. "The palace is for kings. I taught my boy never to beg. And Mariam," his voice cracked, "your mother would have slapped me if I asked." The name hit Ibrahim like a punch. His throat tightened, but he steadied himself. "We'll speak of mothers later. For now, we heal what hurts." He turned to his aide. "Call St. Camille, prepare radiology. We are bringing family." Then to the van driver. "Park your car and help us quietly gather these papers." A small hand appeared. The tissue boy, Abdu, holding the fallen photograph. "Sir, is this yours?" "It's ours," Ibrahim said, sliding it back into the envelope. He turned back to the old man. "Have you been eating?" The man shrugged faintly. "I manage." The clinic said, "To come back with money for the scan. I sold the old radio." Ibrahim's jaw tightened. He lifted the red beret and placed it gently on the man's head. "From this moment, you are not alone. You will not beg. You will not bargain with pain." "Excellency." "The light has changed," a guard murmured. "Then let the city wait one more minute, for kindness," Ibrahim replied, helping the man into the car. Driver, hospital. No sirens. As the motorcade pulled away, the crowd exhaled. Abdu lingered, watching the red beret disappear. A small smile tugged at his lips. Inside the car, the old man clutched his envelope tightly. "I promised Adama," he whispered. "If anything happened, I would carry you until you could carry yourself." "And you did," Ibrahim said, gazing at the streets passing by. "Now it's my turn to carry you." Behind them, the red light turned green, and the city remembered how to move. At St. Camille Hospital, white walls rose behind neem trees, their branches sharp against the sky. Ibrahim guided the old man, Mori Dio, through the entrance. Nurses looked up, surprised. Ibrahim spoke gently but firmly. "Patient Mori Dio, radiology is ready?" "Yes, Excellency. This way." A porter pushed forward a wheelchair. Mori frowned. "I walk. Today you rest," Ibrahim said, crouching, to meet his eyes. "You've earned it." Down the corridor, Ibrahim opened the envelope. Inside were bills, scribbled maps to cheap pharmacies, and a photograph of two young men with arms around each other. Ibrahim's father. "And Mori. Your father carried that on patrol," Mori said softly. "Said it reminded him the world was still good." "I remember asking about those torn corners when I was little," Ibrahim replied. Mori chuckled weakly. "You asked why about everything. Adama used to say you'd argue the sun down." "Tell me again," Ibrahim said quietly, "as if I were still that boy." Mori leaned back, voice shaking but steady. He told stories of Ibrahim's mother, Mariam, the nurse who laughed with her whole body, who turned soup from bones, who scolded doctors and stitched wounds with steady hands. He spoke of Adama, the man called Daylight, who lit up every room, who fought against corrupt mining companies that cut corners on road safety. And he spoke of the night of the storm, when a mining truck lost control at the shade tree bend. That night, Adama swerved into a ditch to protect Mariam. Both never made it home. Silence thickened between them. "You were his best friend," Ibrahim whispered. "And then I became your father," Maury answered. "A man only does what is." "In front of him, I promised Adama if he fell, I would stand until you could stand taller." The scans came back. The doctor pointed to a hazy oval near Maury's stomach. "Not the worst, but untreated too long. We need to operate this week." "How much?" Maury asked. The doctor hesitated. "Send the bill to my office," Ibrahim interrupted. "Charge it to the National Care Fund." "Excellency, there is no such line item," the doctor stammered. "Then today," Ibrahim said firmly, "we create one." Outside, Maury tugged his sleeve. "I don't want people saying I jumped the line." "You built the line," Ibrahim said, eyes sharp, "with your hands at night while I slept. This isn't a favor, it's a debt." Maury exhaled deeply. "Then I accept, but only if you eat with me tonight, not palace food, rice and okra like your mother taught me." For the first time that day, Ibrahim smiled, a rare, unguarded smile. Tonight. The story stretched on, carrying them from hospital wards to a humble shoemaker's stall, from eviction notices to corrupt landlords, from broken roads to broken systems that killed more than they protected. But with every step, Ibrahim chose repair over excuses, action over words. He lifted boys out of petty crime and into apprenticeships. He confronted exploitation head-on, refusing to let poverty be punished. He sat in a shoemaker's workshop and ate rice with his hands, not as a president above his people, but as a son among family. And when the time came to return to the deadly shade tree bend, he didn't arrive with ribbon-cutting ceremonies or photo ops. He came with engineers, road workers, and villagers. He demanded regrading, brake checks, and safety stations, not as favors from foreign companies, but as obligations. He renamed the bend after his father, Daylight Bend. Not a place of death, but of memory, repair, and survival. By the end of that week, apprentices were learning trades, hospitals had funds, and quiet desks had been set up for elders to ask for help without shame. The city was beginning to stitch itself back together, just like a shoe repaired by careful hands. And here's the part Americans watching need to hear. This isn't just a story about Burkina Faso. It's about leadership, the kind that doesn't hide behind security details or political slogans. Leadership that steps out of a car at a red light because someone is in need. Leadership that measures success not by wealth or headlines, but by the number of elders who no longer fear eviction, the number of children who no longer beg in the streets, the number of families who make it home safe from a dangerous bend in the road. Think about that. How many of our own leaders would stop their motorcade, not for a diplomat, not for a billionaire donor, but for an old man with a cane and a stack of medical bills? This story is long, but it leaves us with a simple truth. True power is not how many cars follow you. True power is the courage to stop, to kneel, to lift, and to stay until what you touched can stand again. So I want to ask you, what does real leadership look like to you? Is it strength, wealth, charisma? Or is it the courage to stop at a red light and recognize the humanity in someone everyone else ignored? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your voice, and if this story moved you, share it. Subscribe to Traore versus America, because the world needs reminders that compassion is not weakness, repair is not impossible, and leadership, true leadership, begins when you step out of the car.